not always, is John and Xavi are here. I'm actually doing the fantasy baseball today because Will is not available. He's on vacation, but these two guys are going to give us all the information we need to know for fantasy baseball. How's it going, guys?
What's up, everybody?
Hanging in there, man. How you doing?
Oh man, I'm great, dude. Talking fantasy baseball with you guys. I need to make some moves, so I'm gonna pick your brain today, and I'm hopefully there's people here on the chat, which I already see. Real Profound, you're here. If you have a question, go ahead and ask it. These two guys are gonna answer. If I can answer it, why not? Right? I'll go ahead and do it too. We're gonna be laughing. We're gonna be making jokes. We're gonna be talking about trades. We're gonna be talking about two-start pitchers. We're gonna be talking about who we can pick up in the waiver wire because that's really important for you guys to win your fantasy baseball week. All right, let's get started, guys. Let's get started with the two start pitchers of this week. There's a good list, and I'll go ahead and post it on here. There's a good list, but not every starter on this list is good to pick up. You're looking at matches, you're looking at teams, you're looking at starters, and you're looking at if they're available for you because you do have this top pitchers, and if they're not available, then that's no resource for you. So I'll start with you, John. If you can go ahead and give us your pick on this list for the two start of week 6.
Yeah, so I'll kind of kick it off. I always like to pick three guys at first and then just kind of pick my top guy of the three. So obviously got the Phillies hat on. Big Christopher Sanchez guy. He's not going to be my pick. Spoiler alert. I did like the Jose Budo matchup. I'm a big fan of Jose and what he's been doing earlier in the year. Don't love the matchups against St. Louis and Atlanta. So I'm actually going to go with Heaney on this one.
Okay.
Oakland's been a little hot. But at the end of the day, they're still the Oakland Athletics, and that's a lineup that you shouldn't necessarily be scared of. So I'm going to start with Heaney. And you might be asking yourself, what am I doing picking a guy who's got an 0-4 record and a 5.10 ERA? Well, let's break it down here. So Heaney's had a rough start. There's no doubt about that, but the numbers do look worse than they actually are, in my opinion, at least. Mm-hmm. So Heaney had a rough stretch early mid-April, going back-to-back against the Astros. That's not much fun. His next start against the Braves. So that's increasing his ERA a bit. But in his last two starts here, he's been going 7 innings, 1 hit, 1 earned run, 4 Ks. That was against the Nationals, so take it with a grain of salt, but we're talking about an offense that's at least similar to both the Athletics and the Rockies. In his past couple of over the season, I should say, he's got a 20.8% K rate to just a 7.2 walk rate. He's posted 11 Ks, 0 walks over his last 2 starts. His expected ERA on the season's a 4.10 versus his actual 5.10. So that's telling me there's a little bit of bad luck there. I'll say he's been going a little bit deep in the past couple starts too. Like I said, 7 innings in his last start, 6 innings before that. This is a guy that's not a rookie. They're not afraid to, putting him on an innings restriction. They'll ride the hot hand if he can. So all in all, I'll say I really like him. I like him against the Athletics. I love him against the Rockies. The teams he's pitching against, let's break down real quick. The Athletics, the Athletics started 1-6. I think I saw they're like 16-11 since then or so. So they're hot, but overall, the Athletics have a team batting average of 207, 31.1% whiff percentage, which is 6% higher than the average in baseball right now. A lot of swing and miss from Heaney. He's got a nice mix with his 91-mile-per-hour fastball, nice slider. He's a vet. He's been there. He's done that. And Heaney against the Rockies later in the week, that's one I like a lot better. So if Heaney does let you down against the A's, then you got a Heaney against the Rockies. And the Rockies currently have a minus 75 run differential on the season, which I had to double check that. It's pretty early for a minus 75, but they're riding a 5-game losing streak. Yeah, 5-game losing streak. They got a 241 batting average, which is not bad. It's higher than 239 league average, but their expecting average is 216. So it tells me the Rockies have had a little bit of luck there too. So all in all, they're 25th in run. The Rockies are 25th in runs scored. They're not going to score a lot of runs. They're going to give up a lot of runs with a team ERA of 6, which is the worst in baseball. So even if Heaney, you can't expect him to get 10 plus strikeouts, anything like that. But you should expect him to get you 1 to 2 wins. And that adds up in a good fantasy league.
Okay, so is Heaney pitching in Colorado or not pitching Colorado? Because that makes a difference.
It does. He's on the road in both.
Yeah.
So again, take it with a grain of salt. But I like that Rangers lineup a lot better than I like either of those other lineups. So he's got better run support behind him, and he's been hot in his last 2 starts at least. So
Hey, if you want to go ahead and pick Andrew Heaney from what John is saying, go ahead and do it. Like you said, take it as a grain of salt, and you go ahead and do what you need to do. But you do need a 2-start pitcher. If you go with him, I mean, any of these pitchers right now, I see that, okay, I'm going to go pick them up because I see these matchups. And I do agree with you, John, that the Oakland A's, I mean, they've been kind of showing a little bit up. There's some players that are, you don't know who they are. Like, there's a bunch of minor leaguers in that team. And then when you talk about the Rockies, it's almost the same thing. So why not him, right? So that's a good one. Javi, go. Who do you have pitching here? And I'm going to go ahead and bring in Tony since we have this graphic in.
Just to kind of piggyback off of John's pick, the Oakland A's are 15 and 17, man. That's pretty incredible. I mean, for a team that pretty much you could say was about to throw in the towel because the move and all this stuff. They've been pretty hot. One of my waiver hitters is actually from the Oakland A's, which we'll talk about later. But the guy that I'm going
away
with
right now, dude.
No, I'm saving it.
Okay, good.
The guy I'm going with is Tristan McKenzie from the Guardians. He's owned in 57% of leagues in Yahoo. So far he's 2-2 with a 4.34 ERA, 24 strikeouts. I don't have like the full breakdown of his stats, but I know that he had a rough start to his season against the Yankees and the Mariners. He gave up 11 total runs. And he only went 4 innings against the Yankees, 3 1/3 against the Mariners. McKenzie, he was really good last season. And now, with Bieber going down, I want to say he's kind of the guy, because he's been with the Guardians for a while already. So I guess he's I guess I want to say he's their ace. But ever since those 2 games at the beginning of the season, he's given up a total of 5 runs, and this was against Oakland, Boston, and Houston, which like I said, Oakland, surprisingly, they're playing pretty good baseball. Boston as well. Houston is a very surprising team to me. They're at the bottom of the barrel in their division, and I did not see that coming at all. And his matchups are against Detroit at home and against the White Sox on the road, which Detroit, that's another team that, a lot of people didn't see them doing as good as they're doing right now. They're 18 and 13. And then the White Sox, they're kind of along the same lines as the Rockies, where they don't even have 10 wins yet. But even then at home, I've seen a couple of White Sox games, for fantasy baseball purposes, and they're not a bad team, just their pitching, aside from Crochet, their pitching is a little iffy. But like I said, McKenzie kind of has to put the team on his back a little bit now that Bieber, he's out for the season. And I have a lot of faith in McKenzie because, like I said, last season he pitched pretty good, man. So overall, his matchups are great. If he's available, scoop him up. Because I'm pretty sure he's going to get added a lot this coming week.
Dude, when you said the Tigers, I did not expect the Tigers to play as good baseball as they're doing. They have a good starting rotation. I was pretty high on Tristan to trying to pick him up this year, actually, because he's good, dude. He's good. I know his ERA is not what is expected of him. He's supposed to be in the higher 3s. Right now, he's in the 4. What is it? An ERA of 4.34. He's 2-2. Yeah. I mean, the season's still early. But the Detroit game for me is kind of one where I feel like, okay, I don't know if he comes on top in that game, then definitely he's probably going to be a keeper moving on. because
Yeah.
it's going to be
Yeah.
it's a division games. It's going to be 2 division games he's going to be facing. So it's going to be the heat's going to be on him. I like you guys' pick for sure. Tony, welcome to the show, man. Do you have your mic on? Are you ready to speak on the
No.
2-start pitcher?
Yeah, what's up, everyone? Sorry I was late.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
know.
I mean it's common. It's
Better
usually
late than
my
never, son.
Yeah. Go for
yeah.
it. Go for it.
Um, I actually like Colin Ray. It's spelled incorrectly on the spreadsheet that you guys have up. It's actually
Okay.
REA. Um,
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah.
I actually like him. He's actually
Will
been
messed
pretty.
up.
No, it's all good. I mean, it happens. I mean, when you hear Ray, you think it's gonna spell it out. But
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah.
if you're looking for him, and I think he should be fine against the Royals. And St. Louis hasn't really been up to par. I think he's been pretty good lately, man. He's only given up, I believe, 10 runs and from his last 6 games. And in the last 6 games, he's gone up against Seattle, or the Mariners, the Orioles, the Yankees, and the Rays.
Mm-hmm.
I think St. Louis already as well. So I'm looking at him like he might even be a solid, like going forward. I think he might be solid going forward, especially with the Brewers. The Brewers are actually starting to pick up their offense, which is good to see. To like some run support. Peralta seems like he's just like on form right now. With because I think the number 2 guy, who's the number 2 guy for the Brewers right now? Like I can't even think of.
It's
Oh.
you said Peralta and you have
Who's the number
ooh,
2?
That's a good question.
You know what I mean?
We'll
Like
put- we'll
that's what I'm saying. I think Ray can probably fill that spot, and he's been doing pretty good lately. His
It was
last
DL
game,
Hall, I was gonna say.
it was DL Hall until he went down. Anyway, actually, he never even really lived up to those expectations, because I think he was getting rocked in every start before he hit the
Yeah.
IL.
Why did they trade
Um,
Corbin Burns for side?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dude,
side
I think Colin Ray is the number 2, bro.
Oh yeah, he is listed
Yeah.
as number 2. Well,
Yep.
he's definitely delivering like a number 2 in my eyes.
No.
I mean, he's not like super flashy, but I mean, he currently has 92 fantasy points. He's really not rostered everywhere. I believe his roster rating. Let me see where was that.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't even take it down actually. But I'm pretty sure it's like pretty low. Let's see. In our league, it's only 12%. So he's gonna be available pretty much everywhere. Colin Ray. And I want to also point out for like the viewers at home, Emerson Hancock from the Seattle Mariners might not even pitch two times next week. He more than likely will make that Monday or Tuesday start, but Brian Wu is expected back fairly soon. So I'm thinking he's not gonna hit that Sunday start. So if you guys are like looking at that, I would keep an eye out for, a lot of players are coming back. Like Bradish just came back today. Means is coming back.
Yeah, he looked good too.
What's his name? Manoa's coming back. There's a lot of players coming back, so keep an eye out for that.
Justin Steele, bro.
So some of these players that are listed as 2-star players may not make it. So I would just pay attention to that.
It's crazy. You hit something right there, Tony. You said the 2-star pitchers, sometimes they don't pitch that extra game. So if you pick them up for Monday, you might get them for Sunday. Right now, with the way it's looking, if you're and I'm speaking as like for Dodgers, I have like 2 Dodgers starters. I only get them for 1 week. Why? Because they have a 6-man rotation. When you look at the rotations from other teams, it looks like it's going that way. I mean, I think it's going to start to where they have 6-man rotation. So we're giving you the 2-start pitchers, but doesn't mean you have to keep a really close eye on those. And if they're pitching on Tuesday and they're thinking that he's going to pitch on Sunday, I'm kind of expecting he's not going to do it. It happened to me already twice, and I picked up Kenta Maeda. I know Kenta Maeda was supposed to pitch on Monday, and they had a doubleheader on Tuesday, and he didn't even pitch. He pitched into Wednesday, and that was this week. So you kind of really have to pay attention to that. Just don't take our word for it right away and say, oh, he's going to start twice, I'm going to go ahead and pick him up. No, you got to keep an eye on it for sure, because that's something that you got to really pay attention to. And then you're like, oh no, well, John told me to pick him up. Like, I'm not going to watch this show. Like, nah, that's not how it works. That's not how it works. We're telling you that this is what we would go for. Yeah, exactly. So I know he's wearing a Philly hat, but
So quick tangent. Real quick. And I'll be very quick with this, only because you mentioned about 2 starts. I am actually wearing a Zach Wheeler, Jackie Robinson Day game used hat.
Nice.
So Zach Wheeler a couple days ago, was pitching against the Angels, and basically said he wasn't sharp. He was good, but he wasn't at his best, and basically said just that, with them switching to a 6-man rotation just real quick, trying to get Turnbull and Taijuan Walker in there real quick, he said it messed up his whole week. So I think the Dodgers can get away with it. Some teams, it depends on what the ace says, and Yamamoto and Glasnow need that 6th day. So I think it really depends on your ace, what the ace wants.
Yeah.
What the ace wants, he gets, right? That good point. Really good point. Really good point. Any other pitches you guys see on the list? And I'll go ahead and post it up here again so our viewers can see, and of course we can see it, of course, too, because we're
let me get a reminder
picking on here. Yeah. So let's see what other pitcher, if any, you guys will pitch, because you're looking at the percentages and you're looking at percentage to see, okay, this guy's available in most leagues because they're really low. And again, like we keep saying, oh, is he available? He's not. Some leagues are really, really like on it. They pick these players up by Saturday. On Saturday, you won't see none of these guys that we're talking about. Or you're in the league where like even Monday morning, he's still there available.
That Logan Allen looks all right. He's actually going against the Astros right now, and he's looking pretty good, man. That's not a bad matchup.
He's doing 4 innings, no earned runs. I mean, granted, the Astros haven't really been producing like years past.
Yeah.
So they're kind of on a decline right now. But I was looking at Logan Allen as well. I thought one of you was gonna pick Logan Allen, so I kind of shy away from that. But Logan Allen's great. Patrick Sandoval's not too bad. Tyler Anderson. I like a lot of people on here. I mean, if we're just doing streams, if we're just streaming,
we're just streaming.
Like, why not?
Even Sanchez at the top right there. That's not bad. I mean, 67%. I'm pretty sure it'll jump up by next week, just because people are going to see those matchups and they look pretty enticing. So that's not a bad pickup as well. So if he's available, I mean, 67% is kind of high, so he might not be, but he has some pretty good matchups right there too.
Yeah. All right. We hit that part of the 2-start pitchers. If we missed something, go ahead and post it on our comment boards or send it to our IG. Doesn't matter. We'll answer right away. I would prefer you guys to put it on here so we can have everybody answer what you have to ask. But for now, we're going to move on to the injury part. And there's been a few injury players that we kind of mentioned previous shows, So now we just want to talk about who we can replace and who we can go ahead and fill those spots, because, these top 3 players right here are needed in their teams, and not only in their teams, but if you're a fantasy owner, you need them in your team as well, because those are, average points for these guys are probably averaging 15 to 20, 25 points. And you need those points to beat your opponent. So who can we replace? And we should start with Mike Trout. This one was kind of John, and I'm gonna let you say it because you text something on the whole group text. I don't want to put you on the spot, but
put him on the spot. Damn it!
I kind of did. That's messed up.
Death, taxes, Mike Trout gets hurt. Death, taxes, and Mike Trout. I mean, I knew what I was getting myself into, but it's fantasy baseball. You got to go big or go home, and I'm at home. Here we are. I mean, I sent this out in my other fantasy group chat too earlier today, and I was like, Mike Trout's hurt, Byron Buxton's hurt. It's every year. You know what to expect with those guys. I love Mike Trout, and one day he's going to be wearing the same hat I'm wearing, but you just can't rely on him.
You gonna retire a Philly?
I heard it first. Not really, but I mean, you just know you can't rely on him to play a full season. I was really hoping that they'd put him at DH a lot more, and unfortunately, they let him loose, let him steal bases,
Oh
and
man,
let
I
Mike
wish.
Trout be Mike Trout, which I love the thought of it, but I mean, he's not getting any younger, and
Dude,
he's not getting any healthier, so it
it
is what it
sucks,
is.
bro. It sucks, man, because you want to see Mike Trout play, dude. He's one of the best baseball players that we've seen in our generation. And dude, the fact that he was leading the league in home runs, I'm like, yo, he's back. And then you hear this, and you're like, no, he's not,
No, he's
dude.
back
It's
to the same old, same old.
yeah, he's back. He-
Yeah.
Is Mike Trout's career
you know,
officially the same that you could say about Griffey? What if he was healthy the whole time? What would he have
Yeah.
been? I think we're entering that
dude,
territory because we're never going to get a full season of healthy Mike Trout, probably.
yeah,
Let me take
yeah.
I mean,
a
he's
step
still a first
further.
ballot
Mickey
Hall of
Mantle.
Famer, though.
Mickey Mantle
Yeah.
was the same, So
Yeah.
are we not going to get to see him flourish and become a 500 home run hitter? Griffey's another one. It's just it sucks that we complain so much about Mike Trout that he gets injured, and we're missing the point here. We're not seeing one of the greats. I mean, fantasy aside, right?
Yep.
We're missing one of the
Just
greats
baseball in
in the
general.
game, and it's kind of sucks. But for the fantasy purpose, because we are a fantasy show, uh, who can we replace? And I mean, via trade, waiver wire, or how can you replace someone like Mike Trout? Because they say it's going to take 4 to 6 weeks for him to come back. At his age, with all the injuries he had, is that something where it's going to concern you for you to keep him on your roster? And if you have that IL spot, because some leagues don't have that IL spot, right? So
Yeah.
uh, do you suggest to drop him or trade him, even though he's an IL? Or like, I want to hear you guys' thoughts, because we need to give these people what they want to hear. Like, what can I do with Trout? Like, do I keep him? Do I trade him? What do I do? So we'll answer that question for sure. John, you want to go ahead, or anybody else can jump in? I know John just gave his piece, so Javi, go ahead, man.
Um, I would say in most leagues, I'm pretty sure there is an IL spot, at least one. Is he worth keeping? Damn, that's a really good question. I want to say yes if the timetable says, and it's what it is, 46 weeks. I think a month is cool. If it's longer than that, like you were saying, age and just how your body reacts to injuries and how long it takes for you to heal up, it might go to 6 weeks, man. It might go farther than that. They did put him on the 60-day IL, so
Yeah,
they could push that, and and it's like John said, Mike Trout, he just gets hurt. So I mean, I usually like to scour, for people on the waiver. I actually, I don't know if you want me to tell you, one of the guys
yeah.
that I
Tell
was
me,
I was looking at right now
tell me now.
is actually from the A's.
Yeah.
Tyler Nevin from the Oakland A's, man. He plays first, third, and outfield. Dude, he is on a straight heater right now. And he's only owned in 14% of Yahoo leagues. Last 5 games, he's gone 9 for 19 with 3 home runs, 5 RBIs. He's batting 325, 4 home runs, 10 RBIs for the season, 26 hits and 80 at bats with an OBP of 375 and an OPS of 875.
Hmm.
So I mean, he plays for the A's, but dude, like I said, the A's they're playing really good baseball right now, man. So anybody that you can pick up on the A's that's making a difference, dude, I would go for it. Like the other guy, Esteury Ruiz, right? I don't know, I probably butchered his name, but
Esteury.
yeah. So they sit him
Right.
down against I think lefties, or I'm not sure, but he doesn't play every day. But whenever they plug him in, like towards like the eighth or ninth inning, he's always doing something. He's getting a base, he's getting a hit. So the A's, dude, they're making some noise, man. And Nevin, I'll be honest with you, I don't really know nothing about the guy because, like you said, Oakland A's is basically a bunch of minor leaguers that we don't really know about. So if he's there, that's a great pickup. I always look at, when there's an injured player, most of the guys that you would want to look for in the waiver are pretty much taken. So you kind of got to look for those guys that are making some noise on their team. And this guy, he's been putting it on, and if he's there, man, I would scoop him up, especially if you're one of those teams that have multiple IL players on your roster, which, dude, I'm one of them, and it freaking sucks, man. So injuries have been the worst that I've seen in a long time this season. So if he's there, I think that's a great pickup. Yeah, that's my guy right there.
Okay, that's not a bad pick. That's a really. We need to know more about this player for sure. Tony, give us your pick to replace Mike Trout. Yeah, I'm putting you on the spot, man.
I'm over here enjoying my snack.
I know you can't be doing that.
Hey, man. You guys invited me. I was like busy. Nah, I'm just kidding,
Yeah,
guys.
you gotta eat. You gotta eat.
I always want to hang out with you guys. I love this, by the way. To be honest, man, like it really depends on the leagues you guys are in, because first off, I want to just let people know to double check whether or not Profar is still there, Rengifo is still there,
Mhm.
Winker is still there, because they're really lowly rostered. Jesse Winker is only rostered 15% in ESPN, 26 on Yahoo. That's really low, for a guy who's been producing um, the type of numbers he has lately. So I would first advise you guys to double check for Jesse Winker, Jackson Profar, and Luis Rengifo, because they're really lowly rostered. Profar 45%, Yahoo 56%. That's so in half of the leagues he's available. The same thing for Rengifo. Half of the leagues he's going to be available. On ESPN he's 46% rostered. On Yahoo he's 62% rostered. So those two guys, or those two guys are going to be rostered on half of the leagues. And if you play in a competitive league, more than likely they're gone. Our type of leagues, these guys have been gone for weeks. But who also stands out? He might be gone as well, but he's so lowly rostered that I kind of want to throw his name out there. Willie Castro. He's actually been doing pretty good lately. He's with the Minnesota Twins, and he's got eligibility at second, third, shortstop, and outfield. He's just been doing good, and I feel like a lot of people, not necessarily are sleeping on him, but a lot of people who have injuries, which is pretty much everybody right now. So I
Yeah.
mean, Willie Castro, if he's available, probably go scoop him up, because he can cover so many positions. His multi-position is so valuable, and he has outfield. So
Yeah.
why not? Those are my three guys. Willie Castro, I would say, would be my main guy, because he's so lowly rostered. On ESPN, it's only 8%. On Yahoo, it's only 28%. So more than likely, he's going to be out there available for most of the people out there. But again, I would double check on Profar, Rengifo, and Winker first.
Okay, that's not bad. That's a pretty good list. I'll check them out right now.
Actually, Castro's available, I believe, in both of our leagues.
Okay.
And Rengifo's available in one of our leagues. So
I think guys that have multiple position eligibility are like golden right now, because there's so many injuries in all positions, dude, all throughout baseball and the teams or whatever, that there's so many injuries that you do not know if it's going to be a first baseman, second baseman, third baseman, outfield, shortstop, dude. So if there's players out there that have multiple eligibility positions, dude, that's probably what I would eyeball first, in my opinion. Obviously, you want to make sure that they're producing, but that's a big plus if you can get somebody like that and that's producing for their team. Definitely a big plus.
All right, let me go ahead and read that question for Jasper. How's it going, Jasper? Jose, when John's here, Ernie, and if I missed your name, my bad. I think World Profound is on here as well. But Jasper asks, who's the best listing for injuries? Is it CBS, ESPN, etc.? What for you guys? Where do you guys get your injury report from?
I love ESPN because they bring it up right in front of you, like on the app. It tells you when they're scheduled to come back, and but I actually like going to both. It really CBS. I like CBS because they have a lot of information that ESPN and Yahoo sometimes don't update. But as far as like the injury report and like, I guess making it easy, I would say ESPN, just because you can click on it and it'll tell you what date they're coming back, which is really good, instead of like researching yourself, like when is he coming back, going to multiple websites. ESPN is really user friendly. I believe when it comes to
user-friendly, yeah.
injury
I'm about to
reports.
say that.
I
You
agree.
guys agree?
I think
Yeah.
ESPN's my number one. It's just easier to read.
Okay. All right, cool.
Yep.
Hopefully we answered your question, Jasper, and you used the source that we gave you. John, I don't believe you gave us your pick for your waiver wire for Mike Trout.
I'll give you two actually, because I'm a man of the people over here. So if you have some time,
Love it.
if you can wait a week or two, which not all leagues can. I can't do it in our league, but I can do it in my ESPN league. TJ Friedel is just a guy who started his rehab assignment today. This guy last year hit 279, 18 homers, and 66 RBI with an 819 OPS. So he's available in 58% of Yahoo leagues, 69% of ESPN leagues. Expecting to be back in a week, maybe 2 weeks, depending. They said they want to get him some at bats. So that's my freebie. If you can wait a week or two. If you can't, I'm gonna please Ernie here with this one. I'll say Joe Adell. I think Joe Adell, with all the guys that are probably available in your league, has probably the most upside. This is a guy that's just had such a disappointing career to this point. He spent way more time in the minors than I ever thought he would. But with that said, we've just been waiting for him to break out. I think
He's only 25.
He feels like he's 45. It's
Right? Because he's been around forever.
Yeah, for real.
I've been around since I've been in diapers, I feel like. And it's like, but so for Joe Adell, I think right now is the perfect time to step up. Trout's out. He's let's call it 4 to 6 weeks on the early side. I think that's optimistic. So if there's ever a time for Joe Adell to keep it rocking, now's the time. So I'll dive into his numbers a little bit here. I'll talk the good. I'll talk a little bit of the bad, but this season, 24 games, he's sporting a 290 batting average. He has an expected batting average of 331, which is legit. And reminder last year that he hit 221, in 5 seasons, I should say. This year, he's got 4 homers to go along with that average, 11 RBIs, 5 stolen bases. He's been caught 5 times stealing, which isn't great, but it tells me he's not afraid to run. So I like that too. So he was positioned as a 5-tool player coming up, so he's showing flashes of it. Again, he's 25. That's, even when you said that, I thought he was like 27. I'm like, how is this guy 25 still? Which is wild. But his OPS is up nearly 200 points over last year. He's got a 338 on base percentage. He's scoring runs. He's batting second in that lineup. So while it's not the most potent lineup, sorry, Ernie, he should score some runs. I'll talk here a little bit about the bad. This is a guy that's on the waiver wire for a reason, but some of the bad, he strikes out a ton, but he's shown improvement this year. He's striking out 26.5% of the time. He's been a lot better than the 40.3% he had last year. He could certainly afford to walk more. I think he's in the bottom, 5% in walks in baseball, bottom 10%, I'm sorry. And his exit velocity is on the low side at 89.2 average. But we've seen flashes of this guy. If he can keep those strikeouts down, if he can, be a little more patient at the plate, get his pitch, maybe take a couple walks here and there. This is a guy with high upside for a reason. He was a top prospect, and again, he's 25. Some guys
For the past
are
2
just
years.
late bloomers.
Yeah.
And
You know what?
he recently turned 25, guys. He just like April, like the first week of April or something like that. He just turned 25. So like in dynasty leagues, I feel like he's really valuable, especially if he can keep it up, He's really worth a flyer. I really like your pick, John, because I actually was looking at him and I picked him up. I would have kept him, but Carlos's team right now, I'm playing against Carlos right now, guys. So in our fantasy league, me and Carlos are going head to head, and
Game of the
he's
week,
like
baby.
not hey, game of the week. And this guy would not let up. He's just not going away. I really thought I was gonna like gain, some separation in our points. But his pitching, dude, he just makes so good. Like you made like 2 good pickups, like Maeda. He pitched really well, dude. He got like 27 points or something like that. And I
Yep.
forget which other pick he made. So I had Adele. I was like, yes, I'm gonna like I said, in dynasty leagues or keeper leagues, he's really I feel like he can be valuable because like John had mentioned, he's been a prospect for years now, like since he was in diapers supposedly. So I had to drop him personally just because I need to stream to beat this guy over here. But
Yeah.
otherwise I would be all over this guy right now.
Dude, at this point, you
A good
you know,
pick.
if you're the
Good pick.
Angels, you might as well leave him in your lineup, man. I mean, with Mike Trout going down, I mean, what's the point of sending him back down to the minors? Just let
He's
him
not
play it
going
out.
down.
I don't think he will. I don't think he
Let
will.
him. But you know how he's been up, he's been down, he's been up, he's been down. So, at this point, just
They're out
let
of
him work it
options,
out.
though.
Even
They got
even if
rid of a
he
lot of
struggles,
players.
even if he struggles, you might as well just leave him in there and have him work it out. That's how you're gonna learn, right?
Hey, Ernie's over here flexing, saying 4-0, let's go. So I don't know how
Damn,
you guys
son.
feel about that, but I just want to add for the
I'm
Joe
0-4.
let me go ahead and add a little bit on that. And John, that was a really good take on Joe Adele. Like, I just want to add that Ron Washington has him out there for a reason. He sees the potential that every Angel fan and every Angel coach has seen in the past years. I know he's overran some bases. I know he got hit in the nuts and he got called out at second base. But this guy, yeah, like you said, his stolen bases are a little low. Once he gets that going, it's endless on how much points this guy's going to get, especially if he's one of those players that wants to be the leader or wants to be the top of the game for all the team. Because like I said, Trout's the leader in that team right there. But with him out, this might be his chance to show it's my turn. This is Adele's turn. This is what I'm gonna do. So it's not a bad pick. It's a really good pick. And I was talking about it in the text, like a lot of text that's going on with fantasy, and I'm like, Joe Adele is a good. And when you said that, John, when you send the text at Joe Adele, I'm like, yep. And then Tony says, "Oh, I dropped his ass." I'm like, "What? Nah." So yeah,
It's not
it's a
because I
really good
wanted
pick.
to though. It's because I'm playing against you. I hate losing against you. That's all.
Ah, boo! Get out of here!
I
Get out
hate
of here!
losing against anybody. Period. But that's the only reason, or else he would still be on my team. But
Yeah,
good
Well,
pick, man.
yeah,
I
it's
picked
a
him up
really
in the
good pick.
waiver wire, so we'll see if I get him.
All right, we still do have 2 more guys. Rib fracture on Belly Bellinger. Coney, I know that's your boy, and then lower back
That's my
strain.
boy. My Cubbies hat
Yeah.
on today.
Why?
Damn,
Why do you
son.
do that? Why do you
I,
do that?
dude, I hate it. I love a lot of teams.
Yeah, I think we all do. I think baseball's and everybody's here.
Don't be
Everybody
shitting
loves
on
baseball
John
here.
for being a Philly fan.
I didn't say. I'm not saying. I love the fact that he's a Philly fan. That's what we get different perspective on different players. I love the fact that we all love baseball, and I mean, yeah. Once it gets to playoffs, John, you said it in one of the texts. We're waiting for playoffs. That's when the real season starts. Us Dodger fans too. We're waiting for that to start.
Y'all need some East Coast representatives over here.
Exactly.
Javi's West Coast at heart. He might live here, but he's West Coast at heart. Y'all need some East Coast
I think
brutal honesty.
I think
You guys
we
are too
took his
chill
card
over
already.
there.
Yeah, we already took his card. I don't think he's West Coast anymore,
Hey,
including
hey,
Will.
hey,
Will,
hey, hey, hey.
if you're hearing it, Will, you're not
I
West
got
Coast
dual
anymore. either.
citizenship, son. I got dual citizenship.
All right, guys.
hilarious.
Are you guys good with this topic? You guys already said what you guys needed to say about picking up in the waiver
Well,
wire,
what about
about injury.
yeah?
Go ahead, Tony. You were gonna say something.
No, I was just gonna say, is you know who else too? I want to talk about just because
Go for it.
probably you had because we didn't really talk about any like first basemen
Okay.
because the graphic showed Bellinger and what's his name? Nolan
Nolan
Jones.
Jones.
Nolan
which are
Jones.
both eligible at first base. Both of those guys are eligible at first base.
Yeah,
And
that is true.
if I want to throw, I just want to throw another name out there real quick,
Mhm.
because I feel like he needs a little more attention. Is Nate Lowe. In some leagues he might be already be taken, but he's really in some leagues he's like lowly rostered. He's like under 50%. In ESPN he's 23. You know, like Nate Lowe with the Rangers. I remember last year he was really good. And I remember this season too when I was doing my draft. I was looking at Nate Lowe to kind of like, because like we all look at our drafts and we're like, okay, I can wait on this position. I can wait on this position. And I was most of the time you can wait on first base.
Mhm.
And I was looking at Nate Lowe until he got like hurt during the spring training, I believe. And right now, I feel like he's just getting like not overlooked, but like nobody remembers him. You
No.
know, like
Yeah.
and he's on like the World Series team. You know, so
Yeah.
honestly, like in most leagues, he might already be taken because people were probably stashing him, you know, as like their primary first baseman.
Mhm.
But I like I said on ESPN, he's only rostered 23%. So if you had Bellinger or Nolan Jones at first base, definitely take a look and see if Nate Lowe's available. That's all
Sounds
I wanted
good.
to say.
Santana's good too, bro. There's another
Yeah,
that's another first baseman
that's not
that I was kind
that's
of looking at. An oldie but goodie, Carlos Santana. We all know Carlos Santana. That's another one that's kind of on a heater right now. As far as first basemen go. So if he,
yeah.
he's only rostered in 7% of Yahoo. And he's been putting it on, man. So if he's there, that's another guy. I know the strikeouts for him have always been like a thing. So take it with a grain of salt. But as far as the stats look right now, he's hitting the ball pretty damn good.
Nice.
I don't think I'm allowed to legally roster Carlos Santana because I offended him so bad at a Phillies game once. So
Give you a
my
look.
my
Oh
my
damn!
move, if I'm around like a player
Made it
and
personal, son.
I guess I did. If I gotta find the hat, but if I'm around a player and I don't have anything else, my signature move, if they're not good enough, is to have them sign the inside of my hat. So I had a hat and I could find it, but I'm not gonna do it right now. I hand him the hat. He goes to sign the brim. I was like, no. I need you to sign the inside. And he just looked at me like,
Damn.
He got
and I was like,
offended, bro.
he did get
How
offended.
dare you?
Oh.
He's never signed the inside of a hat before. He's like, I
Okay.
guess I'm an inside of the, I'm at the inside of my hat point of my career here. So
Did he sign it or did he hand it back?
oh yeah, he signed it.
Oh, nice guy then. Nice guy. Because I would have given you that shit right back.
I'll
Yeah, for real.
I'll
I
show
would
it to
have.
you.
Oh man, that's crazy, dude.
That's funny.
That's a good story, man.
Like this guy's worried about where I'm signing, man. Here, take your shit back.
Take your hat
Yeah.
back. I don't want to sign it. Oh, dude. Man, that I would have been offended too. I'd been like,
That's
"What?
funny
Nah,
shit,
man,
bro.
take it back. I don't want to sign this." All right.
I do.
Hey, guys,
My
good picks. Go ahead.
I was gonna say quickly my first baseman. I won't go on the whole tangent on it, but Gavin Sheets. Javi talked about having the dual eligibility. Gavin Sheets also first base and outfield eligibility. Guy who's not the sexiest guy in the world here, hitting 267, 3 homers, 11 RBI. But if you need a replacement, in that White Sox lineup, he's probably the best hitter. Him and Benintendi, which is
Yeah.
not saying a whole lot, but if you just need a guy for a little bit, I like Gavin Sheets a bit.
Yep. What about Pham? Tommy Pham. He just signed with the White Sox. I don't know if that's a good pick. I think it's a good player to watch. He's not really rostered. He's with the White Sox. The White Sox are not doing all that great. But is he someone that you should be watching just in case, you need an outfielder?
I mean, me personally, guys, I would only be watching him if I'm in like a 15 team or deeper league, 15, 16 type of thing, like in a deep league. If there's a reason this guy has been on 6 different teams in the past 4 years, yes, he starts off hot. Yes, he goes on like a heater with like new teams. It's like his MO. Honestly, if you guys look at his fucking track record, he comes on the scene with this new team and he like goes off and it's like hitting doubles, home runs, and this and that, and then he dies off, and then he's traded like either during midseason or like at the end of the offseason. Like nobody wants to pick him up because they've experienced it. You know, me personally, I don't see why everybody always goes towards Tommy Pham. I really don't like
He's
him.
just a known guy that produces.
like name
It's
wise,
like
you know?
you say like hot streaks and everybody jumps on him, and then he kind of he doesn't pan out the way you
I
want
would
it to.
definitely pass.
And then he goes slaps Jock Peterson, and then that's it. Done.
I was gonna say that.
All right, guys. Hey, that was good picks, though. Really good picks. If you're listening, these are the waiver wires for those three guys that we talked about being on the injured list. We're gonna go into trades, and one of the main trades that I feel like needs to happen or not need to happen is I want to pick you guys' brain on this, because there's trades that's been happening that you're like, okay, I'm giving up on this guy and I'm gonna go ahead and do that. I gave you guys an example earlier, right, on the text. Like, we wanted to talk about Vlad Guerrero because I think everybody's talking about him. And do you hold off on Vlad Guerrero? Does he have enough experience under his belt for you to be like, okay, I can wait a little bit? Or do I trade him now because I feel like he's not going to do anything anymore? And go ahead and pick with the player you feel like you need to do it. But definitely, I want to touch the Vladimir Guerrero, and we could talk about it after you guys talk about your picks, of course. John, if you don't mind, we can start with your side if that's okay.
You want me to start with Vlad or on my player?
On your player for sure, and then we'll talk about Vlad after.
So I'll actually break down a trade that I just made in my ESPN league earlier. I guess technically over the weekend. So I traded away Ronald Acuna, Bo Bichette, and Nestor Cortez. I love that reaction, Javi, because that's in my head. I was like, all right, this seems crazy, man. This seems nutty. It's not a keeper league. It's a 1 year, points league. So
that's huge.
Big trade, and it has to be voted on by the league. So usually any kind of big trade always gets shot down. Veto. Yeah. But so Acuna, Bichette, and Cortez, and in return I got Freddie Freeman, Ellie De La Cruz, and Alex Kirilloff, who I immediately dropped and picked up Clark Schmidt. So it basically was Acuna, Bichette, and Cortez for Freeman, De La Cruz, and Schmidt. So why am I trading Ronnie? I mean, I'm a Phillies fan. I'm not going to say that had anything to do with it, but it may have had a little something to do with it. I didn't like taking him 1-1. But it was just disappointing, man. I think there's something to that injury that was mentioned in the offseason. I just think there's something to it. There's no reason for him, at going into May to have one home run. I mean, he's batting .245, and I expected more from him as a 1-1, and I felt that I could get, especially Freeman in that Dodgers lineup's going to get RBIs. He's going to hit for average. He's going to hit for power, and he's just overly consistent. Acuna's still young. His season last year was amazing. Don't get me wrong. And he's had great seasons before, but he's not as consistent as Freeman is. So that's where I felt fine taking that chance. And Ellie De La Cruz is just exciting. I think this is going to tie in a bit with, well, I'll get to that here in a second, but picking up Clark Schmidt and letting go of Nestor Cortez didn't feel like I'd lost a whole lot there at all, especially if they get rid of the ability for him to flinch. You see that MLB might lock down on that a little bit harder. So I was like, I don't know. But overall, I was happy with the trade. I would do it again. It's so far looked pretty good for me. And Ellie De La Cruz is just a lot more fun to watch than Bo Bichette has been. And that's where I wanted to tie it in, is just I think there's something going on with the Blue Jays. They're just Vlad's not hitting, Bichette's not hitting. I don't know who is hitting on that team, and they just don't have any kind of excitement at all this year.
That's true. And you just went gut feeling on that one.
What was that?
Is it a gut feeling that you went with that trade? Is that what it is?
I offered it. I basically told the league, hey, look, Ronald Acuna is available, and everyone just started like hitting the laugh emoji. I'm like, no, I'm not kidding, man. If I can get value, he's available. So I just started firing off a couple offers for guys I liked, and it's a gut
And
feeling, I think, and now I'm screwing the outfield, but I feel good at first base and shortstop.
yeah, and to be honest, the way you broke it down right now, I feel it makes a ton of sense because honestly, like Ella de la Cruz is probably going to be producing round 2, round 3 production, you know? And like giving up Bichette, I mean, for the past 2 years, that whole Toronto offense has kind of been on a decline, if we're honest with each other, you know? Bo Bichette and
Vladdy.
Springer and Vladdy have kind of been on a decline the past 2 years. And this year, we're kind of still seeing the same trend. And like you said, John, the way you broke it down, the consistency of Friedman, it's just so. To be honest, like I when you broke it down at first, like when I heard it, I was like, oh my god, what are you doing? But then like when you broke it down and explained it a little further, I was just like, that trade makes so much sense, and
Well,
it's perfect. It's
you
perfect.
think
It's such
about
a
it.
good trade, John. Go ahead.
My bad. Not Another thing that kind of makes sense now that I think about it is there's a ton of outfielders out there that you know they're just there. You can either trade for an outfielder, you can pick up an outfielder, but those interior guys, the first baseman, second baseman, third baseman, those are a little bit more harder to come by. So that trade makes a ton of sense now that I think about it because yeah, Acuna is a great player, but I'm not saying that he's replace. I'm saying you can replace him. Um, the way you did it is you took care of a position that's kind of a little bit harder to come by as far as the first baseman. And outfielders is like there's a ton of them out there. An outfielder can have a field day, you know, any day of the week. They can be on a heater, and whatnot. But the interior guys I feel like are a little bit more important. Like when I do my drafts, I always try to take care of the interior positions first, and then I work on my way out to the outfield. Um, but yeah, my reaction, like Tony, I was like, "What are you doing, man?" you know. And I just kind of wanna add something to that. I'm one of the guys that has Vladdy, so he's
You want to
available.
talk? You can talk about that, but I want to mention something before we
Well,
move to that. I want to say something to what John said. That injury that he's referring to, it was the one that he had surgery, and then on spring training he was out 4 to 6 weeks from that same injury. And I did see that coming. I saw like if whoever picks Acuna up, they need to kind of understand that injury because that injury is serious. It's not something where he feels something hurting and he's like, oh, I'm just not going to play one game. No, if he gets hurt again, that might end his career. So that's something to think about as fantasy owners. And he is asking who won that trade. And when you said that trade, I'm definitely in. I said, no, that's a really good trade because I understand why you did it because of that injury. And who won? You won. You won that trade. Definitely, dude. Like you have consistency in that. Tony, you're gonna disagree because you always disagree.
I feel time will tell. Time will tell, bro. Honestly, time will tell because honestly, we've known Eli De La Cruz to kind of fall off before.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like Freeman is really good insurance though. You know what I mean? Because he's still a round one player. So I think you won because of the round one Freeman, but like, what if it's just still cold? We're heading into spring barely, kind of. We're going into May, and it's cold everywhere, man. And they're an East Coast team.
I just kind
Like
of
what
looked
if
at
it
it
starts
that
warming?
I kind of looked at it
But I
that
love the trade, John. I'm not saying you did wrong or anything. I love the trade, to be honest. I do.
I
But
looked at
only
it
time
that
would tell whether or not you it was like a bad trade, because
if Bichette
Ronald
turns it
Acuna
on,
got like doubled of everybody last season, right?
yeah,
He had like 800 points, 900 points, and like the next person was probably like Freeman or Mookie at like 400 or 500, like 600 or something like that. So like, I don't know. I love the trade. I can't hate on it. I really do. And like, because I have him on our podcast league, Carlos. We have him
Mm.
on our podcast league, the fantasy uh podcast league, against like other podcasts like Real Talk, against like Sunday League podcasts, against um the Deep Fryer podcast. So we have Acuna on that spot. And I really, really was debating between Mookie and Acuna when I was drafting. And I kind of, looking back, I kind of wish I would have got Mookie, to be honest.
Fair point.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, so
John,
good
what you were
trade,
gonna
John.
say? What were you gonna say, John?
I was gonna say pretty much my whole thought with the trade, it was basically Ellie and Freeman for Acuna Bichette. Nestor Cortez was a throw-in for him to accept it, knowing that I was going to pick up Clark Schmidt anyway. But again, the consistency with Freeman, and I think if I'm not expecting Ellie to keep this up all year, but if he drops and Bichette picks it up drastically, I think they're even now. I think Ellie, the potential is just too high, and I'm not seeing it out of Bichette this year. I'm just not, and anyone in that lineup for that matter. It's the Reds. I think just have more potential. They want it more. They're in a division that's more, right now at least more competitive. So it's
Mhm.
it's. I think the Blue Jays are just kind of gonna wave the white flag here in the summer when they're down 25 games to the Yankees and Orioles. So
Yeah, I
that
agree.
matters.
That matters a lot. That matters a lot. And
Hey,
to your point,
I,
Ellie de la Cruz is hitting the ball a lot harder than Bichette is. You guys had this show last week and talking about how hard he was hitting, how much he's hitting in the ground. One of the things I wanted to mention, and if I was a part of that show, is that when he hits the ball on the ground with his speed, that means he's going to get on base a lot more. He's going to have more opportunity to reach the first base, and that's why his batting average will move a little bit higher because those stolen bases, they add up as well. Bichette doesn't get you that. So that's where I'm kind of referring that you won that trade from paper. I mean, and like I said, that a trade that injury to Acuna, we still don't know. And Tony, you said time will tell. Yes, time will tell. If he gets injured, then John, you look like a genius. You're like, oh man, I made this trade without even knowing this was going to happen, but it happened, right?
Yeah.
So,
Plus, not for nothing, Ellie is shortstop and third base eligibility.
yeah,
good
exactly.
job,
That
man.
adds value to it. All right, Javi, you said Vladimir. And this is one of the questions a lot of people has. What are you doing with him since you own him in your fantasy team? Are you going to trade him? Are you going to keep him? Or are you going to be like, I'll hold
Or
off
drop
until
him.
the end of the
What if
season?
nobody
I'm
wants
an
him?
Yeah.
I'm an optimistic guy here. I still think, even though the Blue Jays are not making any noise, I still feel like they're a young team that can still turn it around. Bichette, um,
I mean, they're not
we've
doing
seen flashes
horrible.
of yeah. It's just you're not hearing a lot from them. Um, I you know he's he's like an anomaly to me, bro. Sometimes like you see him and you're like, whoa, this guy is like top five, top 10, putting it on. And then like this season, you just haven't really heard anything from him. Maybe because Toronto as a whole is okay. Um, when they put this team together with Vladdy, with Bichette, Springer, even Biggio, just the the second generation guys coming from their dads and stuff like that. You're like, yo, this team looks pretty freaking good, man, and hasn't really panned out, and I don't understand why. um Maybe it's an internal thing, a managerial thing. I have no idea, but these guys are good, man. Vladdy,
It's the
I feel like
stadium, bro.
he's got so much
The
potential, bro.
stadium's
they're
huge.
so they're so young. I personally, because I have him in our keeper league. I'm not ready to just say, screw it, I'm done with him. I'll trade him. I'm gonna give it a little bit of time, but maybe towards mid-season, and you're looking at it, and it's still kind of like lingering there, and I'll probably pull the trigger and be like, yo, he's available. Just because
Javi's
there's so much other talent out there that you can probably get for him. So in my personal opinion, because I do have him in our keeper league, I'm not ready to wave the white flag yet. I'm gonna keep him, just to see, because I still feel like Toronto can still be that team that everybody was excited, because everybody was excited when they put this team together, man. Like it's a bunch of young guys, and they've been together long enough to kind of put it together and work things out. So that they got their pitching is decent, and their lineup is not bad, man. So I'm gonna hold off, just me personally.
So you're saying if I had him, you'll try to persuade me to say, hold off, man. He's gonna pick it up. Don't let him go yet. Is that what you're telling me?
Yeah.
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 Okay.
Yeah. I would just wait. I would wait.
Okay. All right. What if something comes up where it's a trade that you're like, I need to do it.
Yeah.
I'm giving up.
Yeah. It's got to make sense.
All right, Javi.
It's got to make sense.
Javi. What if I own Christian Walker?
Here we go.
Christian Walker for on a former contending team, right? Don't do it. Christian Walker, he's already for the past 2 years has been progressing more and more. For the past 2 years, Guerrero has been dropping more and more. Okay?
Yeah.
So let's think about that. What about Josh Naylor? Would you do any of those two trades? If someone offered you Christian Walker or Josh Naylor, would you do any of those trades for fucking Guerrero right now? Because those two guys were definitely drafted behind Guerrero.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll help you out, Javi.
I would do it for Christian Walker. Straight up, I would do it for
Christian Walker is batting .276 batting average, 7 home runs. He has an OBP of 390. His slugging is 483. You mean to tell me that someone that's batting in his low 200s, you wouldn't take that trade?
Let me explain this as well, guys. Look, guys. What a lot of people don't forget, is that when Toronto and their farm system in Buffalo, the ball flies there. The ball flies. So everybody was super high on these guys. And now that they're not playing in Toronto, what's happening?
In Buffalo?
No more home runs.
Oh, in Buffalo.
Well, see, like when they were rookies, they were playing in Buffalo, and the ball was just like pew, 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 pew. You know? And now that they're in Canada, what's going on? No more home runs. Those guys that we thought were going to hit 30-plus home runs are hitting 22, 25, when we were expecting 30, 40,
I see.
Think about that, guys. Think about that.
I do think about it, but I still don't think I'd do it. Just not yet. There's just the upside, man. I know Christian Walker, he's been rising, bro, and you're right. Like he's playing really good, man. And
Josh Naylor, bro, he's him, bro.
Naylor is not a name that attracts me. I don't know why, bro. Like the Naylors, they just don't.
2 years.
I don't know, dude. I don't know.
It's not a big name yet. John, I saw you put the X. You said you're not accepting that trade?
Hell no. No. Don't get me wrong. I love Christian Walker. He's also a local guy. He grew up like 10 minutes away from where I live. Played against him in high school. Good dude. But I mean, for Vlad Guerrero, come on. I just think, if you're going to draft, if you're going to trade,
come on, man.
There's no point in trading that guy now at his lowest of lows, where, if you're going to trade someone like that, I'd rather trade for someone, like you said, who has the upside, who's also not performing. A guy like maybe a Bo Bichette, if you need a shortstop, and they're both.
But Bo Bichette's not performing as well.
That's
Why would you go for a guy who's not performing for another guy who's not performing? Like, what you want to do is try to, like one. If I just feel like Christian Walker and Josh Naylor makes the most sense, because it's almost like a win-win for both parties. One party is selling low and the other party is selling high. You're selling high on Christian Walker by buying on Guerrero. I agree. But like to be honest, dude, kind of like what your trade was with Acuna. You're pretty much selling low, but at the same time, kind of buying high. you know.
Yo, but another my
I
bad. Another thing that you got to look at as well is what kind of league you're playing in too. Like if
Keeper
you
league, yeah,
if
it's a
this
totally
was
different ball game.
yeah if this was maybe like a you know a
1 year.
like where we draft every year, then to me that makes
Mhm.
more sense. But if it's a keeper like what we're doing, it just
Oh,
doesn't make
keeper
sense to
wouldn't
me
make sense.
because I just feel like Vladdy, he's still young, dude, and his upside is up there. Like we've seen it. It's not like he can't turn it around. I feel like he's gonna turn it around. And he has the potential. Just like Bichette. Bichette, yeah, he's not great, but we've seen like he can do so many other things. Um, so like and I that's another thing that you got to look at, like what kind of league that you're in. Um, but like since we play in a keeper league, like I'm keeping him until I see some kind of like if there's a trade that entices me. Like Christian Walker does not entice me because
Okay.
just because he's having a good season now, um, doesn't mean I'm just gonna fold and just say yeah, that makes sense. Like
I
no,
got you. Yeah, because he's at age 33 right now,
yeah,
and
exactly. You know,
according to Will, man streak starts at. Correct me if I'm wrong, Will. If you're
27,
watching, the 20,
27,
28,
yeah.
27, 28, all the way to
28.
33. He's on the
Yep.
upside of and the wrong side of 30. So
He's
that's
over the
where it's
hill.
kind of yeah. So that's kind of something you got to really think about, and I kind of do go by that because I do see that once they hit that stage, you're like, oh damn. I kind of start watching out for these players.
Who's gonna be?
Kind of like Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge is one of my players, and I noticed that Aaron Judge is not, he's barely hitting over the 200 mark, and or maybe I'm mistaken. I think he didn't get a hit today, but like, dude, I gotta wait for him. He's one of the proven players, and I just have to wait. So I'm not trading him, especially not in the keepers. But if a right deal comes to where I
Yeah,
see a potential to get someone that's a number one draft, of course, not the one we're overall, but in the round one, then maybe I'll think about it and let him go. But I mean,
yeah.
it is what it is. We went over the 1 hour mark, guys. Sorry, didn't mean to. Tony, we
Hey
didn't get to
man,
your
let's
trades,
keep
but
going.
dude, hey, you came in late. Next time coming on time.
Yeah,
John,
man.
Xavi were here, myself was here, so we got to
Well,
do it.
we
Yeah,
have to
um,
do an hour on the dot.
yeah. I mean, if you can do it in
I
two
guess.
minutes, if you can do it in 2 minutes, then go ahead and talk. Say
No,
your
no, just
trade.
kidding. What trade? No, no. Well, you know what? You know what? I'm just gonna throw those names out there. If you don't want Walker or Naylor as your like replacement for first base, maybe if you have faith. Okay, you guys were just talking about like trading for Bo Bichette, somebody who's not doing well. Another Toronto guy who might be available or not necessarily available, but I believe Guerrero's doing a little bit better than Kevin Gossman. If you need pitching, like everybody does, Kevin Gossman has not been producing, and they were drafted around the same area. So maybe Kevin Gossman, maybe Max Fried, Logan Webb, you
Mm-hmm.
know, those type of those, outfield. Everybody needs outfielding sometimes, like some leagues are 3 to 5 outfielders. So Michael Harris, Michael Harris
Yeah.
Mm,
kind of comes to mind. He's been doing just as a little bit better than Guerrero. Guerrero, to be honest, like if I had him a hobby, I
mm.
probably will be holding on to him as well. But
So why you
um,
put him on the spot?
huh?
You wanted to pick my
Because to be
brain.
honest,
Yeah.
no, I
He
don't
wanted to
have
see.
any
See how
of those
Tony
guys.
tries to trade.
Yeah, he's trying to get a trade on here on the live show.
He's
That's what
trying to
he's
work
trying
Yeah,
to
he
it.
do.
sucks, but just give
John,
him to me.
John,
Yeah.
Terrible.
we're gonna
He's my
talk after.
There you go.
Guys,
But
we ran out of time. We ran out of time, but we are going to come on next week. It was really fun doing the fantasy show. I forgot how much fun this is. We're talking about players, training players. Keepers League, I kind of love. I love that Keepers League because you act like a general manager and you get rid of your players, but you look at your future too to not spend so much money. So now you got to think about, having an organization and structuring your team so you can win. Thank you guys for coming on, John, Xavi, Snaps. I really love talking to you guys baseball all the time. This is the first time me and John get to talk together. Tony, it's the first time with John talking to John too. It was a pleasure. I hope I come on more time with you guys. Talk baseball, and you're welcome to the other show too. We have 2 shows, of course, on Real Talk Baseball. I'll give you guys a few seconds so you guys give your last mentions, and we'll sign it off. We'll start with you, John.
So keep an eye out. So if Tony sends you a trade offer, you really want to evaluate that long and hard. Tony's going to try to fleece you. Tony's going to try for weeks, then months, and go after your best player and try to give you some garbage. So that's my last word. That's just a shout out to our league. Be careful, Tony. I'm just messing. You got to do what you got to
do.
I respect it. I respect it.
I just want to say it was a pleasure being on the show with you guys, Carlos, Tony, John. Also, Rival Fantasy. If you guys haven't downloaded the app, it's there. I haven't really gotten into it yet, but if you guys want to, make a little extra cash on the side, they got a bunch of cool stuff on there, bingo, best ball. Right now that the baseball season is early, it's fun. From what Will tells me, I will start playing it probably next week or something like that. But if you guys want to make a little cash on the side, Rival Fantasy is a good way to do it, especially if you love fantasy baseball and you are all about drafting fantasy teams and stuff like that. So download
dude, thank you for reminding me, man. I forgot to put this on here, and he said the right thing. The only thing he forgot is a user code. Don't forget to use Real Talk Baseball, because that's the way we're going to be able to get notice on this app. If you don't have the app, you can go to the website and do it. You can do the bingo, like he said. You can do fantasy challenge with your friends and challenge people on that app. It's really fun. It's like fantasy baseball. It's a daily, weekly, and yearly, of course. And if you do it, you can go ahead and message us and say, hey, you guys want to do a little 14 fantasy week, draft? We can do it. They're still matching, dude. They're still matching up to $200.
How much are they still matching us, guys?
Up to $200.
Yep. Get on that app right away, bro. That's free money.
Get it, huh?
Get it.
Tony, last mentions.
I would. Last mentions?
Yep.
John, I don't appreciate that. You're giving away my tactics here. But yeah, to be honest, I don't really have like anything other to say than I love being a part of the show. I always have fun talking with you guys. I feel like it's dude, I feel like we're just hanging out, bro. I really miss the old times, man. I feel like we're like all we need is a barbecue right now going, like some steaks, some burgers.
For real.
I get you.
So that's all I have to say is I really enjoy having or having this opportunity to talk to you guys, and thanks for having me on.
Cool, man. All right. Well, everybody said their last mentions, and I already said thank you to everybody. Will be on next week, and you guys can catch this show on Thursdays. It's pre-recorded. You can still send messages, and we will still answer your questions because we are a fantasy show. We do have the Sunday night show as well. That one goes on live. We talk about of course, the things that happen in baseball and everything related to it. And then this one here is on Thursdays. I'm Carlos Baseball. That's John. This is Xavi Snaps. Real Talk Baseball. Signing out.
See you guys.